Okay, so in the previous video you should have got to this stage with your shape. If you haven't, then you need to go back to the previous video and get to the stage where you've got these two cutouts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our object and draw on this surface here. So click on this one and do sketch, spacebar, normal 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out this corner basically. So we're going to cut this corner off. So I'm going to use my line tool and I'm just going to click on this line. Don't worry too much about where they point to at the moment. As long as they move along and you haven't locked it to the middle line. If you lock it to the middle line, we won't be able to use this. So what you want to do is just click near kind of the edge of the corners and there, like so. What we're then going to do is smart dimension this point here. So this point to this corner here. And we're going to say that we want that to be 30 millimeters away, and from this point to this point here we want it to be 40 millimeters away. What we're then going to do is, because we want to cut out this section here, we can actually fill in this section. So we're going to draw a line across here and here, and we're basically drawing the profile of what we're going to cut out. I'm going to go to my features, extrude cut, and cut all the way through. So then I end up with this cut away here. What I'm going to do after this now is I'm going to add a fillet. Now a fillet is when you round the edges. You get two different tools up here. You get a fillet and you also get a chamfer. And just bearing in mind this is in the features tab. So if you're in the sketch tab, it won't appear. So do features and then you've got fillet and then you've got the drop down chamfer. So fillet for us is going to be rounded. We're going to set this to 18 millimeters. And then I'm going to select the two lines that I basically want it to round. So I want these two lines here. I'm going to do both of them at the same time. You can do them separately, but it just then means if you wanted to change any measurements, you've got to change both of them individually. So it is easier to do them in one go. Push the green tick, and then we've got our fillet on there, so it's been rounded slightly. What we're now going to do is we're going to start adding some of the holes for this object. So we're going to sketch on this face here. So click and sketch, spacebar and normal 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to start using something called a construction line. Now construction lines are really useful if you just want to mock out where something's going to go or figure out where something's going to be positioned. So you click on line and then click for construction. If I move my mouse along here, you should see that eventually it moves to an orange point, which is the center point of this object or this line. So if I click on there, and I'm going to draw away from my center point and click and push escape, you can see that this is just a dashed line and you've got like a dash and a dot. That signifies that it is a construction line and won't be considered or impact when you are extruding. So it ignores it when you're extruding. So what I want to do is smart dimension that line and do it to 25 millimeters. Click the green tick. What we're then going to do is use that as a reference for our circle. So we're going to draw a circle. So again, I've selected the circle tool from sketch, the center point, and then I've dragged it out. I'm then going to smart dimension this. So I can smart dimension, and I'm going to set this, so the diameter, to 25 millimeters. So this is the diameter all the way across. So it's a 25 millimeter diameter for us. With that, I'm then going to go to my features, extrude cut. I don't need to cut quite all the way down like that, so I just pull it back up slightly. You could drag it all the way down, it won't impact your model too much, but it is bad practice to extrude too far away from your model because you might find that you accidentally cut through something else somewhere else. So it's best to keep it so it's just about cutting all the way through. So I normally do it like 1 more millimeter than I need, so it definitely cuts all the way through. Green tick, and then we've got our first hole cut out there. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out the circles on the side here. So I'm going to click on here, on this face, click and sketch, spacebar, normal 2. Next, I'm going to use my construction lines again, and I'm going to add a construction line coming from this side across, and I'm also going to push escape, and I'm going to add a construction line coming from this point, and I am going to let them intersect on this one here, because then I can determine basically where these lines are going to be. So what I'm going to do is Smart Dimension, and I'm going to set how far across I want this line to be. So I want it to be able to go across 35 millimeters. So they'll move together because they're locked together. So that's 35 millimeters across. And then I want this to go down 20 millimeters, like so. So it's moved it up slightly, but it's helpful because it's got it all in the right positions for me. I'm then going to add a circle in the middle of this. So this point here, green tick. And then I'm going to do my Smart Dimension. And for this one, I'm actually going to set this just to 10 millimeters. So 10 millimeter diameter, feature, extrude cut, and just cut all the way through, like so. You can, if you want to, you can actually set it so that it will go to a certain place or a certain area. You can do through all, which will automatically set it to go through everything in line with it. You can do up to next, and there's lots of other options. You can do blind, and you can actually select a surface as well, so you can tell it to go up to this face here, for example. But for most of the time, it's actually easier just to do blind and then choose what you want it to be. Green tick, and then we've got it cut all the way through, and we've got it in the right position. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the point that goes on the side here. Now, if you want to draw something that kind of comes off the edge of an object, we can't really sketch. We could sketch here, extrude it out, and then cut it to the right size that we want. Or what we can do is go to the back of the object and sketch on this face here. So I'll do my normal 2. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this face here, remembering that the faces and planes are almost infinite. So I can actually draw off the right side here to add material. So what I'm going to do is add my point along here, and I'm going to connect it to this line here, and I'm going to have it go across, and I'm going to connect it back to the bottom. So it should form a triangle shape. And then we're going to Smart Dimension these to make sure that we get them to the right sizes. So it should, we're going to set this to come out 20 millimeters. So it comes out 20 millimeters at the top here. And we also want the height of this to be set. So we're going to set this to 40 millimeters height. So we've got the height there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to extrude this shape. So features, extrude. And if it's gone backwards, just pull it through itself. The other option is you can click this button here, which will flip it. So it means that you can see it flips either side. We're going to set this to 15 millimeters. Okay, and then green tick like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sketch on this face here. So sketch, spacebar, normal 2. And then we're going to add our circle on here. Now, we can do our construction lines again, which is quite a good thing to do. It's quite good practice again to get used to doing your construction lines. So what I want to do is I want to have a construction line that's going to go across this way. Oh, I've done that as an actual line. If you've done what I've just done there, and you've got a line that you meant to be a construction line, you can actually click it, and on the left here, select construction line, and just change it to a construction line afterwards. Smart Dimension, and I want to do this line from this point here though. So what I want to do is get rid of that measurement there. I want to click on this dot here. I want to click on this dot here. So I'm basically telling it how far I want it to be from that position. And I want to set this to 32 millimeters. And I also want my construction line from this point here up to here. And I want to Smart Dimension this one to this corner here. And I want to choose 8. So I know exactly where this is positioned. So it's 8 millimeters away from that edge. And it's 32 millimeters up from the base. I'm then going to add my circle in here, like so. And then we're going to Smart Dimension this one. And I'm going to set this one to 5 millimeters. So there's a 5mm diameter on there. Do my feature, extrude cut, and then just make sure it comes through, and green tick. And then what we want to do just for the final bit is to add a fillet, and this fillet's actually a bit smaller. This is only a 12mm one, and click that there. Or did I do it smaller than that? I think I did it smaller than that. I did, yeah. So do that one for about a 5mm one. That's why. So yeah, 5mm fillet on there, and then you should have completed that object. So if you've managed to complete this one, you can have a look at some of the other more challenging objects. There's some that are in the easy, medium and hard. So try those, or you can try some more of the different shaped ones that I've got as well.